Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're here, back at this place, reading. We're here at the Matchless Gifts Center with Srila Prabhupada, the place where it all began, 26th Avenue, Lower East Side, Manhattan, New York, New York. Yay!
So good they named it twice.
Yeah. Okay. And we're going to read from the Bhagavatam, like we normally do on this channel. In case you didn't know, this is where we read the Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss. So where are we reading? What are we reading?
Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 5.
And the chapter title is...
Lord Vishnu's appearance in the sacrificial arena of Maharaj Prithu.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Those who are in full knowledge of the bodily conception of life, who know that this body is composed of niscience, desires and activities resulting from illusion, do not become addicted to the body. Purport. As stated in a previous verse, those with good intellect, sudhya, do not accept themselves to be the body. Being a creation of niscience, the body has two types of activities. In the bodily conception, when we think that sense gratification will help us, we are in illusion.
Krishna, Krishna.
Another kind of illusion is to think that one will become happy by trying to satisfy the desires that arise from the illusory body, or by attaining elevation to the higher planetary systems, or by performing various kinds of Vedic rituals. This is all illusion. Similarly, material activities performed for political emancipation and social and humanitarian activities performed with an idea that people of the world will be happy are also illusionary, because the basic principle is the bodily conception, which is illusory. Whatever we desire or perform under the bodily conception is all illusion. Everything's illusion. In other words, Lord Vishnu informed Prithu Maharaj that although the sacrificial performances set an example for ordinary people, there was no need for such sacrificial performances as far as his personal self was concerned, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.45.
Trigunya Vishya Veda Nishtrigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattva Sto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan.
The Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. So basically what Lord Vishnu is saying is, at the end of the day, it really don't matter if you sacrifice one horse, two horses, 99, 100, two fat ladies, 88. It don't matter.
Krishna, Krishna.
That's bingo. Those of us from England will know that. Two fat ladies, 88. They say two fat ladies and it means you cross out 88. You don't know these things. So it don't matter though. It don't matter. That's what it's like. At the end of the day, if you're an intelligent person, then basically what's being said here is that you know you're not this body and it don't matter about. And Prabhupada further establishes that point by talking about like different Vedic rituals, I guess Kamakanda and different yoga and this and that, and none of this, basically just calls it all illusion. The word illusion is repeated quite a few times in the paragraph that I just read. So basically, what is not illusion? That's the question. And what is not illusion is knowing that I'm a spirit soul, part and parcel of Lord Krishna, and I should just serve him. And if serving you, Vishnu, means I don't do these like 100 horse sacrifices. If that pleases you, and I don't beat up Indra because he was out of order, but I don't do it, then that's not illusion and that's perfection. That's what's been said here, really. But if I'm in illusion, I'm going to be, I'm not doing that. Bring him to me now. Bring Indra to me now. Let me have a conversation and bring me a horse so I can complete the 100. In fact, I'll do 2 horses. This is 101. There you go. That's illusion.
So I guess, yeah, this is an important point, like what is illusion? And I'm thinking first, we have to understand illusion from the not Vedic perspective, from the Vaishnav, Gaudiya Vaishnav perspective, which means illusion, as Prabhupada defines it, means temporary. It doesn't mean that it's not real, meaning it doesn't mean the material world isn't a place of realness and experience. It just means that it's temporary and therefore it's not lasting. And because it's not lasting, what's the point? It's just an illusion. It's an illusion in the sense that you're not really getting out of it what you hope to get out of it, which is lasting pleasure and enjoyment. You're just getting some temporary fix that is simply a reflection of the true and real thing, the true and real ananda, or spiritual bliss. So that's one thing. And then you mentioned also this point of, so what is an illusion? Well, what is an illusion is doing any of these things for the pleasure of Krishna. Now, the question might come in, wasn't Prithu Maharaj performing these sacrificial ceremonies for the pleasure of Krishna? And I think that's debatable. Sometimes I've looked back and seen it seems to be a little bit different in different places. But the point comes down to the fact that by the performance of Prithu Maharaj's 100th horse, it was creating inauspiciousness in the activities of persons who should be acting proper. So therefore, it was having an adverse effect. And even though it wasn't his intention, but that was what was happening. So better is that should be renounced, and we should understand that there's not really any point. What is it? Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhakta prayachati. That this Krishna, he'll accept a flower, a leaf, a little water, some fruit. We don't need to do 100 horse yagyas to please the Lord. But if we're doing them to please the Lord, that is not illusion. But if we're doing it to get some fruitive results, which means I'll go to the heavenly spheres, or I will become Indra, which is what Indra thought was the case, but is not what Prithu Maharaj was thinking, then that is illusion. That would be my answer. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing my rambling thing. So I think we have...
Heard of Rambo, now you've got the Rambler.
Well, never mind, we won't get into that. Okay, so the ritualistic performances, so this is the last paragraph of that purport to text 5. The ritualistic performances recommended in the Vedas mainly depend on the 3 modes of material nature. Consequently, Arjuna was advised to transcend the Vedic activities. The activities Arjuna was advised to perform were the transcendental activities of devotional service. Yes, this famous verse that we quoted before, Trigunya Vishwabheda, Nistrigunya Bhavarjuna. That nirdvandvo nityasatwansto nir yoga kshema atmavan. That the Vedas and the Vedic rituals, they're mainly in the modes of material nature. They're not actually transcendental. It's a step-by-step process to help to elevate someone. Srila Prabhupada would say that it's better that someone sacrifices a goat to Kali because at least they're understanding the principle of sacrifice and that it should be done for some higher purpose than to just kill the goat and eat it or to kill another animal. Because, and I think this is one of the beautiful, beautiful things of Vedic culture, is that it's a gradual process. Step by step we make advancement. So you get on the ladder and you make progress. Of course, we know bhakti, The process of bhakti and pure devotional service is an elevator, which means that you skip over having to offer anything to Kali and do all this and do all that, and you just go straight to conducting yourself in a way that is dedicated to the service of Krishna, and this is pure devotional service, and therefore you skip all these rungs of the ladder and you go straight up to the top levels.
Text 6. How can a highly learned person who has absolutely no affinity for the bodily conception of life be affected by the bodily conception in regard to house, children, wealth and similar other bodily productions? Gosh, the Lord Vishnu is really going for it, isn't he? Purport. The Vedic ritualistic ceremonies are certainly meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. However, by such activities one does not factually satisfy the Lord. Rather, with the sanction of the Lord, one tries to satisfy one's own senses. In other words, materialists who are especially interested in sense gratification are given permission or license to enjoy sense gratification by executing the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. That is called Trigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedic performances are based on the three modes of material nature. Those who are elevated above the material condition are not at all interested in such Vedic performances. Rather, they are interested in the higher duties of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such devotional service is called Nishtray Gunya. Devotional service to the Lord has nothing to do with the material conception of bodily comfort. That's an interesting point right there. Yes, I was talking to one devotee, and they're going to India. Well, before that, they were asking me, "Do you live here?" Not much less gives, but Bhakti Center. I said, "No, I don't live in a temple. I don't want to live in a temple." And then she said, "Oh," I said, "No, I live outside." And then it got on to, and I said, "I mean, some people don't like share bathrooms and rooms and personal space." And she was like, "Oh," and she said, we're going to Vrindavan for the first time." I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Oh, I'm a bit wary about, the heat, the bugs, the this." I said, "Yeah, and the bathrooms. In India, you have bathrooms and you're a bit dodgy. You can have them dodgy here as well, actually." And I said, "So I don't do that." I said, "I've got to know where I'm staying first. Then I can be peaceful in my devotional service. Otherwise, if I'm staying in a place that is with 50 other people in a room and sharing it with 100 people sharing the bathroom, or just not a fit place for a human, in the name of renunciation, which sometimes devotees can do, and I'm not, I don't need any comfort, I don't need this. In the name of that, they suffer, and they may not do that again, go to that place or be happy as such." So I said, "No, I have to ascertain where I am first, and then that's dealt with, and then I can do whatever is needed, service, this and that." And she was shocked. She said, "Are you allowed to do that on this path? Can you do that? Can you be like that?" I said, "Yeah, and the reason you can be like that is you have to be real where you're at." And as simple as that, So then it's interesting, just the last sentence, devotional service to the Lord, has nothing to do with the material conception of bodily comfort. It's interesting that for me it's like, yeah, okay, but I know that I need a certain level of bodily comfort, for where I am to do devotional service. And I'm not going to pretend and go and live on, this is what, 2nd Avenue. There's a tree just outside Matchless Gifts that would be quite auspicious to live there, actually. Be very auspicious, but I'm not going to do it. Maybe the Goswamis would be in bliss to do that, wouldn't they? They lived under a different tree every night. I reckon if they came to New York and they saw Matchless Gifts, they'd quite happily pitch up outside that tree. But I'm not going to do it.
So that's great, and I mean I love it, and I agree with it in principle. I guess what happens there is it seems like that there is an apparent contradiction to what you're doing and then what Scripture may be saying.
In what way?
Well, because Scripture says that devotional service doesn't have anything to do with bodily comfort.
Right.
And you're saying that in order to do devotional service, there has to be a certain level of bodily comfort.
Yes, because as I said, you have to be real where you're at.
Yes, and I get that. So
once I transcend all that, Lord knows how many millions of lifetimes, then I'll happily sleep under that tree. Maybe not, but maybe.
Yes.
But that's the point. Be real, be honest. This is where you're at.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I guess I was just looking for, I'll give an example. There is a verse, and I'm speaking on this in my just a thought statements on Instagram, that pramanais tad sat acharais tad abhyaser nirantaram bodhiyanatmanatmanam bhaktim apyutamam labet. And this verse explains that the highest levels of devotion are attained in slow degrees. This is really important. It's attained in slow degrees. By the method of constant endeavor for self-realization. So it's progressive, it's slow, it's steady. It's not like we jump to this point all of a sudden where I'm renounced and I can live under the tree, as the example that you gave. No, I have to accept I'm not at that point. But maybe one day I'd like to be at that point. But in the meantime, I need to be constantly trying to make progress on the path of self-realization. And then the verse continues, with the help of shastric evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. Which means that by reading Shastra and by purifying and strengthening the spiritual intelligence, then acting according to that spiritual intelligence, and ultimately persevering and perpetually trying to do that. So I guess, I was kind of looking, because sometimes we might say something and it might make a little bit of sense, but it might lack a kind of shastric evidence, so we need some pramanam, some vak from the Shastra to substantiate the statement. So I think that your statement is very, very bona fide and also often misconstrued, misunderstood, and people try really hard, especially in the beginning. We become very fanatical about doing this. I have to do that. I remember me and a friend, we were like, the Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami only drank a little pat of buttermilk every couple of days. And we were like, yes, we're only going to eat yogurt and, dates and nuts, and that's it, And we were going out every day on Sankirtan. We were skipping breakfast. We were just getting nuts and eating, and it was like ecstatic at first, but then after a few days, and I think we started on a Monday, and by Sunday, the Sunday feast time, we were like, forget this stupid thing, man. We're just like gorging down on the Sunday feast. So then it's what's called bhog and tyag. Tyag means renunciation and bhog means enjoyment. So often we're just oscillating between bhog and tyag, bhog and tyag. So let me renounce. No, let me enjoy. So people often say, I want to lose weight. Now I'm going to starve myself for like 6 weeks. And then they starve themselves, and then they do that, and they get to a certain way, and then they gorge themselves because it just oscillates. Or I want to enjoy. No, I'm not going to spend money on this. I'm not going to spend money on that. And then they eventually spend loads of money on something. So it's just this kind of tendency. So we have to be slow and steady. And I really understand where you're at and function from that place. But think how I can make some progress. Think how I could become a little bit more renounced. And renounced doesn't always mean giving something up as far as like not doing it. It may just mean that I'm not attached to the fruits of that activity. And Srila Prabhupada, was living in a very simple place in Vrindavan. He left that. He lived very rough for the first year. It was very heavy. But by the end, Srila Prabhupada had, everywhere he went, there was like almost like a palatial room for him to stay in. But Prabhupada said, I don't really care. It doesn't bother me. I'm happy to go back to Vrindavan. I was happiest living in my simple little, bhajan kutir in Radha Damodar temple. This is true renunciation. Whatever the Lord sends, I'll accept it as His mercy, and I'll try to engage it in His service.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And I've done it again. Y'all talked again. Too much. See y'all later. Hare Krishna.
Talking about Krishna is wanted in life.
Yes.
No need to apologize.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.